September is a peak month. If you've been, if you've been engaging with your forecast, you will know that I've been beating the drum for this, right? And all of you probably know I'm a drummer, so beating the drum is really my thing. So September, peak month, and we're going to talk about why it is a peak month and how for you to make the best of this peak energy, the intensity of this energy. So what we're going to do first, though, is make sure that you do know what your personal year is. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. If you are unsure, while you're watching this, you could go to FeliciaBender.com. There is a calculator there, an actual calculator, just to, to see if you are doing the math right. And yet, very simple math here. You would add the month of your date of birth and the day of your date of birth. You will cast aside your year for this calculation of birth and instead calculate the current year, which is a number 7. It's a 7 universal year. So just to make sure that you're doing that correctly. Also, I want to do a reminder / disclaimer, and that is this. I'm the practical numerologist, and the way that I envision that for myself and why I call myself that is because I like to present you with the information and the material, and then really it is up to all of us to see what resonates with us. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because there are 2 different schools of thought about the personal year. So the personal year either can be seen as being calculated or seen. Well, what am I trying to say? Let me back up. It runs from January 1st through December 31st of any given year. I would say also that the energy surrounding it peaks or intensifies around your birthday time. And then also, again, peaks and crescendos in September, which is why we're meeting right now. So what I want to say, though, is that there is another school of thought that relegates the personal year to be from birthday to birthday, kind of like a solar return in astrology. Either way, you can work with this material, and yet I wanted to be clear that it really depends on how it resonates with you. I've tried it both ways in my own personal life, and the way that I have learned to do it and that feels correct for me personally is from January 1st through December 31st. If you are not of that mind, no harm, no foul. Whatever works for you, you can still apply this information. It just will be applied a little bit differently for you and with you in your mind. All right. So with that said, let's get rocking and rolling here, because September doubles the energy of your personal year and your personal month. So why is that? Mathematically, September is a number 9. Whenever you add something to a number 9, you get what you started with. And this is infinity and beyond, right? It's a very interesting thing with math. So it ends up each of us with our personal year has this doubling down, this double intensity of the energy of our personal year that happens in September. So for instance, it's your 1 personal year, and September is a number 9. We add those 2 together to get your personal month. So 1 + 9 = 10, 1 + 0 = 1. And down the line, you can do that, 1 through 9. So you can see how this rolls out this way. So you're getting double the opportunities and double the challenges. Plus, what I'm going to be saying is that you've been working on this all year long, right? You've been engaging these energies, and let's see where you are and how you're feeling. All right. So the reason that I'm doing this get together with us is I figure you want to go a little deeper, if possible, right? So digging a little deeper, getting a little more nuanced, and getting more able to apply this information to your specific situation, right? And the experiences that you are going through. How do I make sense out of this, right? How do I make some meaning out of it, so that it really is a part of my spiritual, personal growth in life? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use an example, okay, to just start out, to ramp up, of how we might make sense out of, I don't know, a random happening. And I'm just choosing this one out of the air, right? So let's see how we might look at the particular lesson or the core that we can extract if you are in the process of a divorce. Okay, it could be a job change, it could be a health issue, it could be anything. I'm just choosing divorce as our example here. All right. So if we were to look at the one personal year, let's say you're in a one personal year and you're getting a divorce. How can you see what this core message, core issue is that's coming into play? Well, I would just say, frankly, that you probably wanted and needed to get that divorce last year. Right? In your 9 personal year. Didn't happen for whatever reason. And so right now, the real core issue, not issue, well, maybe issue, but the message for you and what you're really learning and growing with and on and into is your independence. If you are getting a divorce, it's gonna kick you up the ladder into your independence. It's gonna ask you to extract from these codependencies and dependencies, all of those things. That would be the center theme. I would say overall, okay, these can mix and match, and there's no hard yes or hard no, but I think it's interesting to look to see how these things can show up and what the ultimate growth opportunity is for us during that time. So if you are in a 2 personal year getting a divorce, you're really learning who you are. This is most likely a time when you haven't been true to yourself, and that has caused an unraveling of your relationship, that sort of thing. So it's about learning who you are. If you're getting a divorce in a number 3 personal year, it's more about your authenticity, more about expression, more about you truly expressing yourself and making yourself heard. And it's often when you do get a divorce and you feel this sense of freedom and you feel a sense of, wow, I've got to learn who I am again, right? And it's your year to do that, to learn who you are once again. So the 4 personal year and divorce, back to foundations, baby, right? It's usually a pretty grueling one. Sometimes a divorce in a 4 year, there are just issues that more ensconced in legal stuff, home stuff, old family stuff that comes up about you really reviewing, why was I in this relationship in this way, and kind of reviewing those old family dynamics that may have placed you there one way or the other to begin with. A divorce in a 5 year. Oh my gosh, that's when freedom rings. So it can be a time where freedom rings and where you really are expressing your sensuality, your sexuality, exploring things that you feel like you haven't been able to for that amount of time until you've been free of the relationship. In a 6 personal year, a 6 personal year is marriage and divorce anyway, right? If you're in a 6 personal year, this is a key time to be experiencing a divorce, because it is usually where you just have tried everything under the sun, and it's either you up level or you leave it. And that is how divorce can unfold in a 6 personal year. So a 7 personal year, this usually is a deep dive into the self. And this is not, again, a hard and fast rule. And yet what I find oftentimes, very often, is when I have clients who are experiencing a divorce in a 7 personal year, they are the one who is left. They're not the one who is leaving. They're the one who is somewhat surprised that they're being left. And so they get to do a deep dive, like, what just happened here? How did I miss that? What, how am I going to rebuild myself here? And it really is a deep dive into self. The 8, a divorce and an 8, boy, that's about power and empowerment. And there's going to be a focus on splitting of assets. There's going to be a focus on the money part, right? Maybe even more than usual. And yet it is really a step in your empowerment, and it's demanding that you get serious about yourself and ask for your worth during that divorce proceeding. So the 9, a divorce and a 9, it's simply a significant transition for you in your life. Often you are a relationship driven person. You are someone who this is a very vital part of the fabric of your being and of your life. And when you experience a divorce during that 9 personal year, it really is a significant closure and then opening to this next phase and stage in your life. All right. So I hope that that was useful in some ways, because, we start looking at this material and everyone's like, is this, when can I make money? What year is it? What year is this going to happen? Well, there are tendencies, there are themes here, and yet all of these things can happen in any personal year. It's just, what does it mean, right? And what does it mean to you specifically and individually? All right. So I'm hoping to really dig in when we get into questions, because it becomes so fascinating to look at how things show up. All right. What I'm going to do now is this. We're going to set the groundwork. I'm not going to go over these ad nauseum, right? I'm not going to dig deep. And I also am not going to come back to these slides. You can watch the replay to take notes or whatever, or, pause the slide if you want to write these down, if it has significance to you. I would encourage you, if you are a note taker, to take notes during the presentation, because that's why we're here, right? To have some takeaways. So what I'm going to do is briefly brushstroke over these slides that give you an idea about what the theme, give you reminders. What is the theme for each personal year? So if you're in a 1 personal year, I think you know this already, but we're, again, recap. New beginnings, planting seeds. You're more than halfway through, right? You're moving into September. So your question that has been the guiding principle all year long is, what do I want to see grow and blossom during these next 9 years and beyond, right? Especially during this next chapter, this next personal year cycle in my life. So the goal here is to stand on your own 2 feet as you begin an entirely new chapter. So this really is a high-powered year, marked really only by your individual determination and initiative that you place and that you put forward during this year. So let's see what this might look and feel like in September. Okay. So if you're in it, if you are riding high, and I gotta do a little spoiler alert right now. If you are feeling so fabulous right now, I want you to just spread that love and joy and happiness and positive vibe to everyone, especially on this chat. Okay, I'm serious, because a lot of people I'm working with, there's a lot going on astrologically in the world. There's just a lot going on in the world. And I feel like all of us are experiencing a lot of intensity. It doesn't mean it's bad at all. It just means there's a lot going on, a lot above the surface, below the surface, beside the surface. It's everywhere. So I want to, first of all, just really acknowledge that I think most of us who are living in the world are experiencing a lot of intensity right now. Okay, so the point of this is to point the needle and the compass at that, give you some support. You are not alone. Okay, really, you aren't alone. And yet, how do you do this? How do you optimize it? How do you really live your best life, even in turbulent times? And transitional, transformational times, especially now, right? So if you're in your 1 personal year It's at this point in the year, often this is a new career direction or new lift to that, or new angles, or just some additives to that that are really taking you to the next level. This can be new relationship traction that you're feeling right now, right? It's a launching year, just no matter how you slice it. So if you've got a new relationship going along with this, this is in perfect timing with the one personal year. It's a time where you've been lobbed a lot of opportunities this year to practice independence, right? To be your individual self, to march to the beat of your own drummer, to take those calculated risks, right? And so this is when it can feel really great, when it can feel really empowering and like you're really moving in that in the right direction. Now, what happens if it's a little wonky? If it's a little off? And we're always we can vacillate, right, between the highs and the lows, or the challenges and the victories, right? So right now you could feel even more intensely that you're grappling with some codependent situations. These can be again across the board: work, friends, intimate relationships, family, all the things that you have relationships with. Relationships are what life is made of, right? So there can be some codependencies that are being really, really up in your grill right now for dealing with those. You could be playing it safe right now. You could be thinking, oh, I got to do the same old thing. I got to do the same old. I committed. I said I would. I got a degree, and so I have to do this. It's one of those things where if you've been talking yourself out of your new beginning, that's when you begin to feel a little cranky right now, right? So that can be a way that it is going to come up for you in September even more intensely, right? And what I want to say is the intensity around the month for all of us is really bringing these to the front of the line, these thematics and these issues to the front of the line. Hey everyone, as you have noticed, this forecast is set up a little bit differently this time. I decided to make it a little bit different and give you a little piece of a webinar that I just presented on the energies of September. I thought that would be a nice way to shake things up and give you a little bit of a different approach. If you would like to review what your forecast is for the month of September in written form, very much like would usually be as part of your forecast, please go and take a look at it. You can read that rather than watch it. And I know I'm asking a lot of you, but if you are interested in that forecast, go read it at FeliciaBender.com. So it's FeliciaBender.com, and go under monthly forecast. Click on your personal year, and you will get the full written forecast for this month. I hope you have a great one, and I'll see you soon.